All rise and shout. It's time for What's Trending.
'Cause I will never switch up. You gon' have to keep up. And I don't wait for the love, good love. Yeah, this is my run. 'Cause I will never.
One of your all-time favorite 80s songs. I'm so excited. And I just can't hide it.
Pointer Sisters.
On cue, my friend. I knew you would pick up on that. Yes. We're all excited for BYU football. And naturally, when you bring in some new blood, new coaches, new staff, there's a new feel, a new excitement. Everyone's talking about the new atmosphere, the new energy. We're all excited, Jason. But when you look at the defensive side of the ball specifically with Jay Hill, where the biggest change was made on the staff, and yeah, you and I have bought in big time with this, as have the team and everybody else in the athletic offices. Are we too excited too soon for this new look BYU defense?
Look, at this time of year, probably, but you know what? That's okay. That's what this time of year is all about. You don't have anything on the field to look at and analyze and go over ad nauseum about, you know, how this went and how this didn't work and how that looked. All we have is our own expectations, the excitement of the new staff, and the energy that they're bringing. And I think that really, I think, is what most of the excitement right now boils down to. It's having a guy like Jay Hill come in, and he was on this show after being hired, and you could see the passion that he has. You've seen the success that he has, certainly from the coaching tree that he comes from. To be able to add that on that side of the football and see what he's been able to do, that gets people excited. And then you see the staff that he's, you know, hired around him. All these, you know, you have former Cougars that are coming back, guys that have had success other places. Sione Puha, not only was a fantastic player at the University of Utah, but played in the NFL for several years. A fantastic recruiter. All of these things generate this buzz that this time of year is all we have to hang on to because we don't have games yet.
Sure.
So the answer is probably yes, but that's okay. That's what this time of year is all about. It's to get excited and to anticipate what we hope is going to be a really fun year.
Does excitement impact expectations unfairly? That is something else we will discuss in just a moment. But first, I want to dive into the why we are so excited. What is the impetus? What is the driving force behind this? Does it come back to Jay Hill? Is he the guy that's now generating all of this?
I think it starts there.
Because he's the guy that brought in Sione Puha and Kelly Papinga, and now BYU's defense has a whole new feel from a staff perspective. Jay Hill is the reason BYU has Eddie Heckard now, who was an FCS All-American defensive back at Weber State. And let's be honest, Sione Puha and Jay Hill and Kelly Papinga are the reason that so many new players are showing up at BYU, Jason, right? Like the Boise State guys specifically, come on, we can't. Let's not kid ourselves. There's a reason why Jackson Cravens and Isaiah Banya, those guys come from Boise State to BYU because of the Kelly Papinga connection. So why? And I think it starts with Jay Hill, but do we need to temper the excitement and expectations to be fair to Jay Hill? Because I hesitate to just all of a sudden say BYU's defense is going to be worlds different next year after one season, knowing that they're also going into the Big 12. So I want to be fair to the situation, too. I don't want to heap expectations on Jay Hill and say, hey, BYU's defense was essentially, depending on which metric you look at, bottom fourth of college football. It was not good last year. Now they're going to be top fourth. You know, they're going to be in the top. They're going to be a top 33 defense. Like, that just, it feels too crazy. What is a fair expectation with this excitement in place?
See, I know sometimes they don't go hand in hand, but I think if you're being true to the situation, you can be both excited for the opportunity that presents itself, but also still be realistic enough to realize it is going to take some time. It doesn't have to be night and day from one day to the next. You can see improvement along the way. It's the same thing as going into the Big 12. To expect to win the conference year one, you would love to do that, of course. But if you're being realistic about it, it's going to take some time to be able to ramp up to the level that you're going to need to play at year in and year out. I think it's the same on the defensive side. It's the same on the offensive side. The whole program, everybody that takes this step that BYU is taking now, everyone that has done this prior, has all had stepping stones that they've had to get to along the way. There's been some times where things were a little sketchy, but you have to go through that in order to come out on the other side better. So I think you can be both excited about what you see and hear. And the other part about the excitement is it's not just coming from hearing what Jay Hill talks about and the coaches talk about. It's hearing the players and their excitement and how excited they are with what they're seeing and the things that they're seeing day in and day out at practice that we don't necessarily get a chance to see. They see that incremental improvement. They see what excites them, and that gets fans excited. So I think you can be both excited and realistic that it is going to take some time, and that is okay. It's okay to know it's going to take some time. That's fine. That's the process.
Excitement and expectations are two different things. They are intertwined in a fan's mind, whether you want them to be or not. So you got to find a balance, because if you get overly excited, it's like, man, maybe BYU is going to win the Big 12 next year, or at least have the best defense in the Big 12 next year. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
You know as well as I do.
Come on.
The first time BYU loses a game, there are going to be fans that go on social media and they're going to rant and rave that the season is lost because BYU lost one game. And that's ridiculous.
Well, maybe let's give them some credit. Now BYU's playing in a conference, so maybe they won't do that after one loss. They're not independent anymore, okay?
Yeah.
So maybe there's more context there. So I'll defend the fans on that, right? But your point is valid. When something bad happens, it's like, what? I thought everything was going to be better. We have to be careful. I'm gonna give an example here, okay? And humor me if you will, Jason. This goes back to your guy Robert Irvine. I know you love his Fit Crunch bar.
Had one before the show.
So he hosts a show on the Food Network called Restaurant Impossible, where he takes over a restaurant in dire straits and tries to give them a revamp and a refresh to help them start to find a way to put a good product out and to make customers want to come in, okay? This whole thing with the defense reminds me of a Restaurant Impossible situation, okay? The GM is the same. It's Kalani Sitake. But he has hired a new chef, okay, in Jay Hill, and a new sous chef in Sione Puha, and another sous chef in Kelly Papinga to come in and give this place a facelift. Okay, there's new decor. They bring in new lighting. It's like it's going to look a lot better. There's a new menu, a bunch of different items. You want to call the new menu the new players?
New tablecloths.
Okay. Okay. But it is not going to fix everything overnight. People will be understandably excited because if you see a rundown, defunct restaurant and then all of a sudden you give it a new facelift, it looks brand new. The lighting is great. New tablecloths. Okay. New chef. It's
very important.
New menu. Just new energy, right?
Yes.
New energy. New pricing system. Everyone's bought it. It's going to be great. You know? But now you think about where BYU is going, okay? In this area, Jason, there are several largely successful established chains also building brand new restaurants around the facelift restaurant in the Big 12, okay? So it's going to be tougher. While it's all there, it's just now you're competing at a much higher level, and you've got new businesses coming in. We need to give it time, Jason. I am a little bit worried about this because I'm as excited as anybody, but expectations-wise, you have to give Jay Hill time. Give him at least another full year to recruit. Let the transfer portal open up again in a few weeks in the spring and see what else he can bring in there.
Look, I think we're saying these things that I think most people understand that.
Do they?
I do. I think most people realize that it's not going to be like somebody flips a switch and it's going to be a complete 180 or 360, Carmelo.
Nice.
A complete 180 from last year to this year. You're going to see improvements, but you can't expect it to be a finished product in just a couple of months. You can get better and you can see vast improvement.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be a finished product year one. It's going to take time. And it's going to take time in terms of learning the scheme. It's going to take time in bringing in personnel. You mentioned the recruiting part of it. That is an ongoing thing. That never stops.
Give them at least a full recruiting cycle, meaning
A minimum
full year.
Yes.
Full year.
And that doesn't mean that you can't have high expectations. We all want the best for our team. We all want BYU to go out and win every game they play. And every time they lose, it hurts. But we're also realistic to know it's sports.
Sure.
And there's going to be some growing pains, especially when you're taking such a big leap like BYU is. And I think most fans understand that. That doesn't mean that they always like it or in the moment are cool with it, but I think they understand it.
Yeah. The key to happiness, how many times can we say it on this show, is managing expectations. That is the key to happiness in life in so many ways. If BYU had a bottom fourth defense overall in most analytics, what's a fair expectation? I'm hoping that BYU goes from a defense that's rated somewhere between 90 and 110 to somewhere between 60 and 70. I'm excited to see what that will entail.
That's a big jump.
That is a big jump. So
I think that is a realistic jump.
That's kind of where I am with this whole excitement, expectations, context as it pertains to the defense specifically. The offense is already going to be a top half offense. Can the defense move to middle of the pack instead of bottom fourth of college football? If they do that and do it in the Big 12, Jason, that might be, the best accomplishment that they have altogether is that on the defense side of the ball, as you ramp up the schedule and it gets more difficult and you still are able to improve your defensive metrics that much, then you know what? We should throw a party for Jay Hill. Seriously.
Yeah.
We should absolutely throw a party for him after the season. All right. We're all excited.
We're all excited for the new tablecloths.
Manage your expectations. Come on. Restaurant Impossible, Robert Irvine. Where is he?
At least we know what Spencer watches when he's not watching sports.
It's a great show. If you watched it, I guarantee you.
I have not watched it. I've watched something similar because there are similar shows. But yes.